Hi everyone, this is Tevi recording from Franklin. Welcome to the Civil Rights Movement, Part 1. So let's get right into the first question. What are your civil rights? They're probably something that you don't take a lot of time to think about. You've had them your whole life and they've probably never been denied. But many groups in the course of history have not had their civil rights. So a quick definition is, they are rights that allow everyone to be treated equally under the law. And so when I say the law, I'm talking about the Bill of Rights. Think about illegal search and seizure, or think about the right to a fair trial. Not in the Bill of Rights, but the right to vote, things like that, to own property, to feel safe in your home. So these are your civil rights. So on to the next question. This is review. How did Reconstruction limit blacks' rights? So after the Civil War, you guys could put down the black codes were passed, and I have a photograph here to show how many blacks were put on these chain gangs, perhaps to work off their debts. So kind of a continuation of slavery. I don't know if you guys remember, but black codes also limited. They couldn't have their own weapons, and really controlled their work and kind of set up their labor contracts. Something else, guys, for number 2 would be the terror and violence from the KKK. And certainly the rise of Jim Crow. My next question is, how did Reconstruction attempt to help blacks? So you want to put down a few things from this previous slide. That there was a Civil Rights Act passed that tried to make everyone full citizens. And also you guys should review that the 14th and the 15th Amendments were also passed during Reconstruction. 14th was all about citizenship, and the 15th, remember, was the right to vote. And right around the time of 1900 was a famous Supreme Court case known as Plessy versus Ferguson. And so what Plessy versus Ferguson decided was that separate was equal. And so this was a case about a train where a black person who was very, very light-skinned tried to ride a white train, and the conductor kicked him off. So this is kind of a cartoon that was shown in a magazine from this era. So why is it important? It legalized. As long as separate facilities were provided for blacks, it was equal, and so it legitimized segregation for the next 50 years. A quick reminder for number 5 is, what were Jim Crow laws? They were both kind of unofficial and also kind of legal ways to separate all public facilities for blacks and whites. So I have here, the drinking fountains, the restrooms, the laundry, the list goes on. How long did they last? Well, they certainly became legal around the turn of the century, and this takes us all the way into the 1950s. So, definitely for a half a century, if not more. So my next question is, what is the origin of the Civil Rights Movement? And I have a picture here of an early photograph from the NAACP. So that is your go-to answer there. So the NAACP started in 1909, so that's the origin. And really their main objective, guys, so for number 7, this group tried to solve the inequality faced by their people by going into the courts. So they got trained in the law and they fought segregation in the courts. And so from the time of Plessy, certainly when things were at an all-time low, but up and through until the 1950s, the Supreme Court did begin to show its support for the movement by overturning several cases. One in particular was allowing blacks to attend white law schools. So that's for number 8. That's how we know the Supreme Court supported this movement. So let's get right in to one of my favorite Supreme Court judges, Thurgood Marshall. There's a picture of him when he's in his younger days. His nickname, I want you to just take down a few notes. He is super important to know for this time period. His nickname is Mr. Civil Rights. His career, he definitely went to law school and was part of the NAACP. In his career, he won 29 of his 32 cases in overturning segregation. His belief was in the importance of the Constitution. Though it did allow for slavery, he is known to have said how important it was to interpret the Constitution in favor of his people. So please put that down. And a huge milestone is that he's the first African American to serve on the Supreme Court. All right, so my next question is, who was Linda Brown? So she's pictured there on the left. She wanted to go to school in her neighborhood. It's in Topeka, Kansas. But she was denied admission, and she was told to go across town to an all-black school. So her parents, along with the NAACP, sued the school board. And they made a landmark decision. So guys, in 1954, I'm on to number 11, the Supreme Court ruled that segregation is inherently unequal. And what's really neat is that psychology made an impact here. So Kenneth and Mamie Clark did a study, and they used black and white dolls with children as young as 6. And these children identified, both black and white children, identified black dolls as bad. And so the conclusion was drawn in the court that, there was a huge stigma that this kind of segregation based on race was not equal. And it definitely hurt these children in their development, as seen in this famous psychology study. Guys, also put down for this ruling under number 11 that it violated the 14th Amendment, according to the court. And they said to proceed with deliberate speed to integrate. So guys, make sure for number 12 you put down the study from the Clarks that contributed to the case about the dolls being classified as bad. And so how do you think the South responds to being told to integrate their schools? Well, there's huge resistance. So I want to remind you of these 3 civil rights workers that went missing in Mississippi in 1964. So their case has inspired the movie we're watching in class, Mississippi Burning. And over here, we're going to get to this after vacation, but this shows that the actual Army has to be called in to protect these black students from going to an all-white high school. And you can't see, but over to the right are crowds, angry white crowds, shouting 2, 4, 6, 8, we don't want to integrate. So this really shows the scale of Southern resistance. How long did it take for all schools to integrate? It took until 1969. Senator Harry Byrd led this massive resistance and even got over 100 people to sign this Southern Manifesto, which opposed integration and tried to assign students to schools based on their race. Alright, so I got my slides out of order, but that's okay. So guys, under number 13, how the South respond, please put down, this is a Virginia Senator, Harry Byrd, put down his theory, I'm sorry, not even his theory, his practice of massive resistance, his Southern Manifesto that he passed. So that goes down for how the South responded. For 14, I told you it took till 1969. And then, guys, on that last slide, what did the white crowds cheer? Blocking the black students from attending an all-white high school. That's that horrific cheer, 2, 4, 6, 8. So please put that down for number 15. So I'll leave you with, again, a reminder of these 3 civil rights workers. We'll learn more about their fate and see the conclusion of Mississippi Burning. This is Tevi signing off. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.